Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Lenz, and I was the account executive for the Department of Communication Scholarships and Awards Ceremony that we helped put on this year. This is Sadie. We have Jasmine, Sierra, and Kyle, and this was a really fun event for us to do. I'll give it to Sadie to kick it off.
Okay, so go ahead, next slide. So our client was the Department of Communications here at Cal State Fullerton, and this is one of the largest academic units of its kind, and it consists of 4,000 undergraduate students, and each spring the department hosts a scholarship and award ceremony to honor those hardworking students and scholarship recipients. This year, we went ahead and did it at the TSU Pavilion, all 3 rooms. This worked in the past, so they went ahead and it was already predetermined before we were with our clients, so they went ahead and booked that before we were set up with them. Our MC this year was Robert Guadarrama. He is a news reporter on Fox 35 in Orlando. He was a Titan alumnus himself, and he graduated with a communications degree in journalism. So he represented our school in the best way possible and one of the key components to our success, I think. And so first off, with our client, during our consultation, they laid it out for us, told us what we needed to do, how things were going to be done, how things went well in the past, and what we need to improve on this year. So we went ahead and kind of made like a timeline, and they told us the importance of the themes. So they showed us past themes, and we came up at first with the theme Starry Night, but later on, during our second meeting, we went on with the theme Around the World theme, so it could show the diversity of our school. The event consisted of 400 invited guests. This was an invite-only VIP event, and students were allowed to invite friends and family with the purchase of a ticket. Not only was it a scholarship ceremony, but there was a photo booth, an opportunity drawing, food and beverages, and desserts and music for the attendees to enjoy, which was really cool. The students did not know that they were receiving an award until their names were being called out, so it was really nice seeing their faces light up when they saw their names on the PowerPoint that we all provided. And I think our biggest strength was the fact that it was done in previous years, which helped us a lot with the event planning process. We had last year's campaign books, we had photos from last year, so it helped us a lot, and that was one of our biggest strengths. Our biggest weakness, I would say, was our short time frame. This is a 400-person event, and doing it in roughly about 3 months was very difficult at times, but I honestly saw it more of like an opportunity, because not really necessarily a weakness, but it was a good opportunity for us to be able to plan an event in 3 months, which was very challenging but also rewarding at the same time. One of our biggest opportunities, the biggest opportunity for the department was probably being able to build such strong relationships with local vendors and businesses in the Fullerton area for future event planning. It was a great opportunity as well for the attendees, the opportunity drawing for them to win some cool prizes. Our biggest threat was COMM week being the same week as our event, which was difficult because a lot of the students being awarded were preoccupied with other student activities and events happening during COMM week. So in order to address that issue, we just made sure that nothing was going on, and we didn't have to share the TSU Pavilion rooms with any other events going on that whole day, which was a very good strategy. We also, another threat was the invitations, because not all students check their student email. So we had to make sure that we sent all hard copies and electronic copies to students and faculty and donors. That way we could have all those seats filled up. And now I'm gonna hand it over to Jasmine, who's gonna talk about our key audiences.
So I'm going to talk about key audience of public. So as you all know, public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. The public for our event were students, family members, alumni, or communication alumni, donors that funded the scholarship, and faculty and staff. But the key audience that we focused this event for was the students and their families. It was an memorable experience for parents because it allowed them to witness the success of the students' hard work and dedication. And I looked it up, and research suggests that engagement, encouragement, and support is associated with a positive outcome like adjustment to college, academic achievement, and decreased stress. It made this event especially memorable for parents and for everybody to enjoy, and made it really family friendly. Sierra, she'll be talking about the strategy and tactics we used that made this event a success.
All right, so I'll be going over obviously our strategy, tactics, our goals, and our objectives. So our strategies and our tactics kind of play hand on hand with each other. Our client kind of made it really obvious of what they needed from us, and what they really liked from us was constant communication. So we had constant communication in person and through emails. Through our constant communication in person, they kind of went over what they would be expecting within the next few weeks, which kind of led to more emails to be checking up on us. And so with that, it was kind of a really good, sorry, this is kind of a good way to get a different perspective, and being able to constantly email with them and see what they need from us. And that kind of leads on to the tools to make happen what they needed from us. So we kind of created a task sheet. Chris created a task sheet to communicate with us on what we needed to deliver for them, because they had so many different projects for us, as they saw us to kind of be the people to be able to do the side work that they couldn't exactly get their hands on at the moment. So what we kind of used is all these tools to put things together. Canva was kind of our biggest tool. It was what we used to put together our pamphlet, and I was just going to kind of pass that around so you guys could see. And what made Canva really awesome is that we were all able to access it together to be able to proofread it, see what needed to be done, see what was done. Also, what we used Canva for were other printables that were on displays. Along with that, Amazon was one of our biggest online things that we used to kind of see different prices for our backdrop and things that went on the tables, and kind of goodie bags to take away. Another thing that we used was Spotify to make a playlist for the night for people to enjoy music. And then Google for Gmail and slides. Gmail was definitely like our holy grail, because there was so much communication with the department. They wanted to frequently know what was going on, and what we were up to, and what we were expected to bring soon. And then our goals, moving on to our goals, obviously the number one goal for any event is to have a successful event, and that was our number one goal. We wanted to make sure we had a good, successful event that was not just put on, of course it's going to be put on, but was looked at as good, and that the department could be like, yeah, this was a good event, and we were all happy. And that's actually what it left with. They were actually very happy. We saw them recently again, and they seemed to be pretty happy with it. So to get to this, we had to make sure that we had a successful event. We obviously had to have our people there, so we had to make sure our RSVPs were sent on time and to all the people. So we had all the names collected, make sure we had everything in line for everybody to be contacted. Along with that, we wanted to make it kind of exciting for people there, so we put together prizes for an opportunity drawing, so that way while they were there, not just receiving awards, but also little goodies on the side to kind of excite not just the people who are receiving awards, but also their family and friends who they brought along. Our next goal was to take away kind of things for the next future, and definitely something that we kind of talked about along the way, and definitely at the end, was that in the future we wanted to focus more on the prizes, because even though people are there to receive their scholarships, to make it more exciting, if we would have had more prizes and bigger prizes, it definitely would have kept them more engaged and maybe more excited for like a bigger prize rather than a smoothie somewhere. And then another thing was to understand that people do kind of fall out. We had photographers fall out, and we instantly got them back up, like we found different ones, but to have that understanding that those are gonna happen, and when it happened, it was kind of, oh no, now what do I do? But it's super understanding, the team was understanding, and so was the department. And then our third goal was to foster good relationships with the department and the people, not just us and the department, but the department and also the students' families and themselves. It was really great that we were able to have such a transparent relationship with the department. They easily asked not just who had a good idea or who thought this was a good idea. They wanted everybody's input, and that's why emails were so frequent, and they wanted fast replies. And then also the way we formulated good relationships with the students and their families were by providing instructions and fast emails if they had any questions for the night of. And then while there, we were able to direct them in quickly and answer all their questions. And then now Chris is going to go over our calendar and resources.
Thank you. Now, to put on an event like this, obviously the more resources you have, the better off you're going to be. We were grateful and fortunate enough to have a lot of resources at our disposal. The first one was our budget. Most of the budget was going towards decorations and things for the stage and party favors and things like that. The catering was taken care of by Beth and Christina, and they kind of took care of a lot of the bigger monetary issues, and we kind of had to take care of just decorating the stage, making sure that everyone, it was a nice memorable moment for them. We had a budget of $3,500. We ended up only using about $1,600 of it, but knowing that we had that large of a budget to kind of work with the way we wanted was really nice to know. The Department of Communications staff itself was another really big resource that we have. Them having the experience behind doing this event and kind of giving us the information about things that have happened in the past, things that like speed bumps they've gone over, and for us to kind of get over those hurdles without having to take on the burden of a negative impact from it was really nice. So because we got to learn things that went poorly in the past, not having to do those with our event was a really, really good resource for us as well. Us putting the time commitment that we did and spending the time that we did and really buckling down early and making sure that this event was a priority for us was monumental for us. I think putting together the list of deliverables that they talked about earlier, it, in our minds, put a deadline, obviously, on everything that we had to get done. And I think a lot of people work better when there are deadlines. And so knowing how much time we had and being able to parcel out the right amount of time to get these things done really helped us not only get them done, but also motivate us to get to the next task at hand. So that was really nice to have as well. The Pratt Agency, obviously the Practical Advantage. Doug was a great resource that we have. He has a much better relationship with the communications department personally than we do. So we were kind of able to bounce ideas off of him and see how they like to be talked to or things that they've done also in the past, because he kind of knows them at a more interpersonal level than we do. So we got to use Doug. We have Function Fox, so we use that for non-billable, billable hours, things that we were doing outside of the office for our client, and things. Of course, we had client meetings at the College Park as well, so we got to use Function Fox to kind of manage all of those hours. We had the Google Drive, and so she mentioned we have pictures and ways to be able to go back and kind of see what themes did they use in the past, what went well, what didn't. Another resource is obviously having the event that went on before, not doing the things that they did wrong. And so, of course, not everything went right for us, but we were still able to avoid a lot of those obstacles this time as well. In the Google Drive, we also had some of the documents that they used in the past too, going over the campaign book, which kind of helped us have a nice template for producing our campaign booklet as well. The donations from local businesses that Sierra just talked about, this was really helpful for us as well. Going to the event, we had 3 intervals where we were able to give out these donations and drawings, and I think it was a nice little spark for a lot of the attendees and the awards recipients. And then the volunteers as well. We ended up garnering about 14 volunteers to help with this event. Like she mentioned, we sent out about 400 invites. I think we had about 315, 320 actual attendees, which is still a pretty good handful. And there's only 5 of us, and there's only about 5 of them as well. So we needed all hands on deck. So we were able to get 12 more volunteers. They came early. Some of them came in the morning. Some came during the actual event, and they helped us put it on a ton. So that was really lucky to have as well. And then, of course, with the resources comes a calendar. This is just our April calendar, but we also have, of course, the February, March. All 3 of them, essentially, were all filled out with the deliverables, things that we had done. We had this done in an actual Word form, and we kind of transformed it into calendar form just to kind of give you a more visual representation of when we did things and kind of how we did them as well. For the campaign outcomes, of course, there's always things. You go into an event with goals, with ways that you want it to come out. And of course, it doesn't always come out the way you want. So with this event, it did happen on April 25th. And all 5 of us got there about 8 o'clock in the morning. We had to transfer a bunch of stuff over from College Park and essentially put together the whole stage that morning. And so we got there early, put up all the lights, all the decorations, the tablecloths came, we had to set those up, party favors, everything. We had to do that very early in the morning. And then we had a big gap until the event as well. And so that started at about 5 o'clock actually. Guests came a little bit early. One of the things that happened that we didn't expect was on the invitation, we told everybody to come with their party. And a lot of people came kind of separately from their parents or from whoever was meeting them. And we wanted them to come together so we could seat them all together. And so when they came separately, we had to ask them to wait. And of course, nobody was really happy with having to wait to go in. And so it became it was a little bit of an issue, but of course we got past it. We also had the photo booth that she mentioned earlier. And this was something that we thought was going to be bigger. But throughout the event, it really didn't get a lot of foot traffic, and we think that's because we didn't really advertise it, I guess, in a way that was good enough, but we got some pictures. But as far as what we envisioned in our head, it didn't end up being as big of an event as we thought. The photo booth, of course, that is, and so that's something that we can kind of take advantage or hopefully improve next year. Getting to the event, everyone kind of met up with their groups. It was pretty seamless. Of course, they got their food before, and about 30 minutes in, we started the event. Right off the bat, one of our projectors was not mirroring. Sadie was actually the one in charge of going from slide to slide. We put together the slide as well. And one of the projectors wasn't mirroring the laptop that was behind Sadie. And so she wasn't able to see what slide was actually up during the event. And so obviously, like, quick speed bump that we weren't expecting. And so we kind of had to like communicate at which slide was up the whole time to make sure that the MC and whoever was talking was matching up with the slides. We did a video as well throughout the event, and we had two projectors, one on each side of the stage, and the right projector kept going in and out every 4 seconds during one of the videos. Very distracting when there's only two projectors. And so, of course, we didn't know if it was going to happen the rest of the event. Thank goodness it was only for that video, but still another thing that we were not kind of expecting to happen. Throughout the event, a lot of the professors from the communications department were there, and a lot of them were giving out the awards. They kind of had their own gap of time to go on stage and introduce people that are in their subject field who were receiving these awards. And it was cool to see a lot of, obviously the students were there receiving their awards, but it was a real genuine interaction between the professors and the students, and of course the parents. The parents were maybe the most proud out of anybody there to kind of see their students get it. So that was kind of cool to see and kind of have it go throughout the night and kind of see the amount of joy that like everyone really was getting. The event ended around 9 o'clock. We had a bunch of people from the communications department. They helped us wheel back and kind of take all of the items back to College Park. We kind of had to put it away real quick, but for the most part, it was an all-day. It felt like an all-day event just because we had to get there really early, and it lasted until 9:30. But overall, I think it went really well, and we're pretty happy with the outcome of it.
So for our evaluation of success, to start off, I think we had a pretty good and successful event. I think everybody was pretty happy, team members included. So to start off, I think the best part about our event was that our team members, starting with Chris, our account executive, he provided everybody with things and tasks they can do based on your strengths, and he allowed people to just work off their strengths, which was good. Secondly, I think one of the ways we measured success was being able to get timely responses from RSVPs, just getting the names of the people who were getting awarded so we can get a head count of how much food we need to get and things of that such. So I think it allowed us to be proactive by starting early. Like he said, we had deliverables, so we all got our donors, we all got certain things like that in advance, so we were able to get a head count, how many people we had to account for, how many decorations we had to get, how many tables we needed in the TSU, things of that such. Hand in hand with that comes food. Everybody wants food when they come to a certain event like this, so we just had to make sure we had a surplus of food so everybody could get seconds and thirds. Me personally, I had my teammates come, which is some pretty big dudes, so they went back for seconds and thirds of food and seconds and thirds of cake and things like that. A big part of our event was the raffles also. I know Chris and Sadie went into this, but a big part of our event was the raffles. I think we scrambled a lot with the raffles overall because we had some people say they were going to give us some things and they wound up not giving us some things. So we were able to have an array of donations. We had a ton of gift cards. We had Marriott 2-night stay with inclusive breakfast, which is pretty cool. Some baseball VIP tickets with $20 yard house inclusive of that. We had some bookstore paraphernalia. I think they gave us 2 hoodies and 2 shirts. And then Titans basketball also donated some gear, 2 shirts, a polo, and some shorts, I believe. Lastly, and most importantly to me, the facial expressions and joy of the people who were receiving the awards was just amazing to me personally, I think, and to my team too. I think everyone in here has gotten an award at some point in their life, and you guys kind of know the joy it brings you and your family when you can make them happy and kind of make yourself happy and see the payoff of all the hard work you've done. So I think that was like one of our greatest measures of success, just kind of seeing everybody happy and the award recipients happy, and just having a free-flowing event wasn't bad at all. And I think overall it was just something that we learned how to maneuver through some hardships, like Chris said, and just being able to put on a seamless event. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions?
What was the most expensive part of your budget?
Catering.
Catering?
Yeah.
Which was, so that wasn't part of our budget. So
Oh.
but yeah, the catering had to be close to like 1,500.
Everything that you guys versus?
Oh, what we purchased?
The linen would be the most expensive.
Oh yeah, the linens,
Tablecloths,
tablecloths.
They actually are so expensive. Because
I
we
would
had
have
a lot
I
of
would have
people.
thought it was the photo booth, and
Well,
then you know what I mean?
no, all we did for that was we purchased a
A
mouse.
backdrop, and then you had the photographer take pictures.
Yeah.
Exactly. We used one of the
See, in
photographers, and we
years
got, like, props.
before, they had like an actual, like somebody coming, like a photo booth company donated
Yeah.
their service, but we reached out to the same company and they didn't respond to us. So we went ahead and made our own, which worked out fine, but
We saved a lot of money, so
Yeah.
we probably could have spent $500 to get a photo booth.
yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You
Any
guys
other
said you
questions?
could have like improved on prizes. Was that also like in your budget, or like how did you like? So the prizes were also like sponsored and given to us for free. So therefore, like instead of starting midway, we should have started from the very beginning to reach out to more companies or local people. Or even one of the ones that I did get from Luna Girl in San Diego, they did send over something, but we didn't get it until the week after. And then she told me that I didn't give her an address, but I did. So just kind of lack of communication but then that was actually a really good prize. It just didn't make it here on time. So if there would have been more time to find more donations, and maybe instead of just 2 people finding donations, more people could have also found some, or maybe everybody. So because those things are free, you kind of have to put more effort into like finding them. And I think that was kind of also the thing that kind of brought us down, because we're like, oh, we have to go ask for free things.
Since you guys had like a surplus in budget, could that be like for next year allocated to get prizes, like just like next year, or?
We weren't actually sure. I don't think we were actually allowed to use the money to buy our own things, because even Sadie wanted to give out free movie tickets from her own that she just had, but because she's not like an organization, because the sponsors would be put into our pamphlet, and we can't put Sadie in our pamphlet as the person, because because they're giving us something, we want to give them back, like, oh, here's your name in our pamphlet, and kind of giving them a shout out.
Yeah, that's the point. It's a sponsorship, and so if we went and bought something, then us putting their name in it too is like a win-win for them, rather
Yeah.
than a quid pro quo sort of thing, you know?
Did anybody
Any other
else have
questions?
Yeah, so when you're getting the donors, do you, are you pitching them something? Yeah, you guys are pitching them something, or you pitch?
Yeah.
You give them a pitch?
So basically, we either went in to the business itself, like in person, and asked, like, hey, we're, Practical Advantage Communications student agency. We're hosting this event. We would want to ask you if you would want to donate. Like, we would advertise your business in our pamphlet for all students and guests to know. And a lot of them were like, sure. And a lot of them didn't reach back to us. But it was just, emailing and going in person and asking.
Yeah, it's kind of like free advertising. So what we did
Yeah.
was that again, using the things that they did in past events, we got to see some of the pamphlets that they had. And so we had Kyle go out with that pamphlet that she's looking at right there and show them, like, hey, so can we get anything from you guys? And then this is how we'll put your sigil in our program. And so they kind of got a good visual of it, as opposed to if we just walked in, kind of explain it to them, they might be like who is this person, like, trying to get free stuff. So I think actually showing them a physical copy of it helped us solicit a lot better and more consistent donations. But we just wanted to get better ones. We feel like they weren't to the magnitude that we would have liked after the event. We thought that, of course. So